Hi everyone, Rusty Schaefer here, and I wanted to show you, I've had a lot of questions about how I do my videos. I use a program called Camtasia. It's real simple. Of course, there are other ones out there, Adobe Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro. These are much more expensive programs. They're amazing, but there's a lot to do to know how to work within those platforms. I like Camtasia because it's simple. You can create a really nice video for YouTube in just a few minutes. And what I want to do with this video is show you how to do that. So let's quickly talk about the elements of any video. You've got the video itself. You've got a possible still picture, or let's say an intro slide that you want to put in. You've got audio, and then you've also got text, which are captions or annotations in Camtasia. That's really it. Some fade in, some fade out, maybe some color correction, real simple stuff, and you're off and running. And then Camtasia lets you export it to your YouTube channel or to your desktop. Okay, let's get into it. So as we see here, right now we're looking at the Camtasia screen. This timeline down here along the bottom, as you can see, this is track 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the lifeblood of what you're going to do. Horizontally, this shows your video from start to end. The playhead right here, you'll see move across as the video goes increments. We do a lot with the playhead as far as positioning it to see certain parts of the video or even to splitting clips. We'll get into that in a second. These right here, plus and minus, compress or expand the timeline. I'll show you that in a second. And this right over here adjusts all the track heights. So as you can see, I can make them small, and I can make them big. I'm just going to leave them right about there. Okay, so we see 5 tracks. And again, you're not limited. You keep dragging media down to the timeline, it'll keep adding tracks. Okay, up here, this is where we import media. These are all our effects, our visual effects, audio effects, our transitions like fades, annotations, which is the text, and our library, our media library. Okay, let's import some media. We click import media. I've got this pointed to a folder where I have 3 pieces of media. I've got music, my video, and a still picture. Now I want to import all 3 of those. Okay, so I am going to just import them all at one time. I hit Control as I clicked. Let's open them all up, and as you can see, there they are. And look, it's smart enough to know there's video, there's images, and there's audio. You can hide things if you've got a lot of content. So it keeps it organized. Okay, let's drag the video, which click and hold, and I'm going to drag it down to my timeline. As you can see, I dragged it into track 3. No big deal. If you don't have it where you want it, it's not a problem. Click it again, click and hold, and you can drag. I'll drag it down to track 1. All right, so now you can see my video, my drone video that I shot this last weekend on the California coastline shows up, and if I hit play right here, you can see that as we got going, the drone really didn't get going till about there. Okay, now I don't want that stuff in the beginning. So the clip is highlighted. If I go to this icon right here, it's the split icon. I will click it and look at that. It split my video into 2 parts. Right? So I will highlight the part I don't want. I can right click and delete, or I can just hit delete on my keyboard, and there we go. Now, I'm going to grab this clip, slide it back to the 0 point, and let's play it now. All right, that's great. But you know what? That's not as professional as we can be. We want to fade in. So let's go to transitions. I click transitions, and you'll see fade. If I drag fade down to the clip, I can put the fade in. Now if I drag it to the left-hand side of the clip, notice it's only going to put a fade in the beginning. If I drag, I'm still holding the left mouse button down. If I drag over to the right here, it'll only put it as a fade out. If I go back to the middle, I've got both. There we go. Now let's see how that worked. Playhead back to 0. Click play. It's kind of fast. That's kind of a fast fade in. I'm just going to extend it. So do you see how I did that? I highlighted it and then I dragged it. I grabbed it and with my left mouse button held down, I'm dragging it. There's my fade. And you can see I can have different fade in, fade out lengths. All right, let's try that. Let's look at that. Oh, that's nice. Much nicer. Let's drag the playhead over to the end and let's see what the fade out looks like. Oh, beautiful. Very cinematic. Okay, that's great. So now I'll click pause, drag my playhead back. All right, we're ready. We're ready for the next element. I'm going to click save. Let's go back to our media. Let's put a picture in, a picture of that beach, but I want to put it before this clip. So let's first of all drag it in on track 2. Okay, I've got it in on track 2, but I want to move my video because that's where I want it. Right? Let's just play that. Okay, and you're probably asking, well, how long does it last? As long as you want. See how I'm dragging the length? That drags the time duration. I can have it short or long. I want it enough to put text in and have somebody read. That's probably enough. Maybe a little longer. Okay? So now what I do is I drag my video back. And what's great about Camtasia is it knows I want to butt this up against the picture clip, and it stops. Now I could keep going if I want, but it gives me that stop point as a default, so I don't have to perfectly look where I want things. Remember this plus and minus? Remember I told you what that did? That makes our clip smaller or stretches out the timeline, right? I just wanted you guys all to see that. All right. So we have our beach in there, but we want to fade on that too. So let's go to transitions, take my fade. I'm going to put it on that clip. Let's see what that looks like. Fade into my picture, out of my picture, and into my video. I kind of like that. That's cool. All right, let's put some text over this picture. How do we do that? Well, you're not really putting text over the picture, you're putting text on the timeline. So let's go to annotations. And I could put all kinds of different annotations here, or arrows, or icons. I am going to take some basic text. I'm going to drag it to track 3. And look what I'm going to do. Instead of putting it at the beginning, I want my text to come in when the fade comes in, after that fade comes in fully, right? So let's click this for a second. Look at my text. There it is on the screen, right? I double click, I highlight it. Day at the beach. We don't need the word "at" capitalized. The day at the beach. How about that? Okay, now I stretch this out because I want it to be on a single line. And then I grab it and I'm going to put it right there. And look at all over here to the right. You can see I have a lot of text. I can change the font. Okay, I don't particularly like that one. It doesn't matter what we pick. Okay, I can bold the font. I can italicize it. Day at the beach. I can rotate it, change position, etc. Right? I've even got opacity of how I want the back of that. All right, and the scale, meaning how I want that. I'm going to put that back at 0. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight that, go back to 0. Actually, let's just undo it. Okay, Control Z. All right, that's where we were. Now, do you see I've got the clip I don't want those. So I'm going to drag these handles and I'm just going to widen that. And now maybe I'll highlight this and I want this to kind of be over there in the corner. Day at the beach. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, oh, you know what I forgot to do? We've got to shorten the text. I want to shorten that text. Let's try it again. Day at the beach. Good. But you know what? It's a little fast. I think what would be better would be to fade out on the text. Let's put a fade in. Again, I'm going to make them a little smaller, but do you see what I'm doing there? I've got my clips. You see how the effects are attached to each clip on the various tracks? Let's see how that looks. Fade in, quick fade on the words, and out we go. Now that may be too quick for you. All right, you know what? Let's lengthen it. Let's lengthen it a bit. That's probably cool. Lengthen it. How's that? A day at the beach. Beautiful. There we go. Okay, that looks really good. I'm going to go up here and hit save, just as a habit. Now we want to add some audio. Back to your media library. And this is my personal recording of a band that I was in many years ago. We did this song, so I am going to put it in on track 4. Now, notice you can see the wave file, right? The actual audio itself. It doesn't come in for a while, so I want to split this clip right where it comes in. So remember our split function up here? Delete that part and bring it in. Now again, let's fade this in. I'm sorry, we want to go to audio effects, right? Same principle, but audio effects. So let's fade this in. I put the fade on and I make it nice and long. How about we just fade it in all the way over that picture? Right? That's kind of cool, like that. See how long that fade is? And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lower the audio a little bit. I just don't want it that loud. I want it in the background. You see what I did there? See, you can also use the gain function over here on the right on properties. So there's your audio file, your text, your picture, and your video. And now the last thing I'm going to do is look how long this audio is. So rather than scroll, let's use the minus button to compress the timeline. And I am just going to drag this back. Now you're probably asking, well, why didn't you split it? I could do either. Either one is really the same thing. So let's move that audio back, but I want to fade out there. I want a nice long fade out. So what if we just drag this guy really long? Let's see what that does. See how long that fade is? It's totally up to you. This is what I happen to want. All right, let's move our playhead back to 0 and let's hit play. That looks great for what I want. Okay, so that's super. So let's just keep watching it for a second. And again, as you can see, we're going to get to the fade out pretty quickly. All right, so let's listen for the audio. Nice long fade. That's great. That is super. So there's our video. All right. So can everybody see how simple that was in just a few minutes? We added the elements to our timeline. We added some effects. Oh, I want to do one last effect. And there's a bunch over here. I don't want to get into all of them. They're all over here. But you know what? I want some bluer water. See how, I mean, that looks great. That drone is 4K video, but it it's just a little washed out, right? All right, let's go up here to visual effects, color adjustment. Now again, I'm going to drag this down right onto my clip. And as you can see, it says effect added. And you might say, well, where's the effect? See the little arrow right there in the middle of it? If I click that, it puts it right down there in the bottom. You say, well, how do I adjust that? Look over to the right. Color adjustment. Now look what it did. It really washed it out, right? If we bring all these values right here to 0, when I say all these, I mean the brightness, contrast, and saturation. That's going to give us, that's going to be neutral. That's what our picture was. That's what our video is. So let's start messing with the saturation. Now there's a nice black and white if I wanted my video to be black and white, right? Get rid of all the saturation of color. If I go all the way up, ooh, it's almost fake. It's almost too bright at 100%. So let's go up, I don't know, I'm kind of liking 60%, something like that, 62. I like that. Now let's see what contrast does. Oh, terrible. That doesn't work very well. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to mess with contrast. I'm going to highlight that box, type in 0. I'm going to put it back to 0. Now let's see what brightness can do. Well, that's horrible, but that looks good. So lessening the brightness. How about right there? How about right there? And remember, I'm doing it for the whole video clip. I could do the same kind of color correction on the picture or any other video element, right? And if you happen to have, let's say that your video goes from one area to the next and you need 2 different sort of color corrections, just split the clip and put different color adjustments on each clip. Right? It's really, this program lets you kind of use it as a building block. All right, so that's in there. I'm going to hit save. Let's just look at the beginning of this again. That picture is beautiful. That was shot with an iPhone 8. And the video looks much better now. Look how rich that is. That is awesome. Okay. So now, how do we get this out of Camtasia and into our onto our computer, into our YouTube channel? Well, we go up to export. So do you see export up here? If I go to export, I can export this to a local file, to a YouTube channel, to my Vimeo, to a Google Drive. I can export the audio only, anything. All right, so it's as easy as that, guys. You'd export it. I'll show you. If I click local file, it gives me some choices, all right, of MP4, what resolution. And if I pick that and I hit next, then it asks me the title, all right? I'm gonna call this my first video on using Camtasia. My first video using Camtasia, right there. Okay, and it's going to go on my desktop. If I hit finish, there we go. Now it'll start to render. So I'm going to cancel that real quick. Okay. You see how it's done. It's that simple. Okay, I'm gonna let you go, wrap up this video. If you have any questions, message me, subscribe. I'm gonna try to bring more videos like this that show certain things. But what I love about Camtasia, it's technology that you can use that doesn't use you. It's within 5 minutes we made this video, 5-10 minutes. If you get to the point where you've outgrown Camtasia, you're doing great. There are plenty of other programs much more complex to go to, but Camtasia is really easy, simple, and it's economical. Okay, gang, that wraps up this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something about video production and an easy way to make videos for YouTube that look professional, that just give you that little extra bit than just posting your video raw. Please hit the subscribe button. I'll try to bring more videos like this on video production. It's pretty cool with Camtasia. Otherwise, I love Camtasia because you use the technology. The technology doesn't use you. All right, thanks. Have a great day.